Well, hey there, everybody. We're finally back with another Shop Talk Tuesday. If this is your first time here, I'm glad that you decided to make it. Got a few things going on this evening. First off, I'm back from California. Had to work in Sacramento for just a little bit under a week. And sorry about that. Had the volume on my computer up. So anyway, got back from Sacramento, California this morning, super early. Got one of those red-eye flights in, and I just have a few things that I want to talk to you guys about. So, Slick Tables, what's going on, man? Hey, I've been seeing a lot of your projects, and I've been doing a really good job. It's pretty cool. So if anybody's here live, don't forget to put in the chat. Tell me where you're watching from. Jeremy. Hey, Bill. Bill says, welcome back. Hey, Jacob from Slovakia. How you doing, man? So, had a pretty cool weekend, and did a lot of work out in California. And so I live in Virginia, so it's the exact opposite side of the United States. It was pretty crazy. Rusty Merkin says, "Hey yo." Well, I got a lot on my plate this evening. Guys, we're still going to be, if you've seen the picture of that giant slab that we have, that's what's coming down the pike. We have a big conference table that we're making. It's going to be a river table. It's going to be really, really cool. I hope you guys stay tuned when I start posting videos for that. But what's coming up in the near future, the end of this week, we're going to be starting a desk for my office. We are renovating the office in our house. And so, gotta have a cool desk for all the Good View Woodworks stuff going on. Also, I want to tell you guys, if you haven't forgotten, the Cheapskate Challenge is coming up this Saturday. So make sure that you have your entries in by midnight on Saturday, the 29th. Blonde Jesus says, hello, man, how you doing? I'm doing pretty good. How are you? Glad you guys decided to make it tonight. So Jeremy asked a question, are rigid planers any good? Well, Jeremy, that's a good question. I don't have any experience with any rigid planers. Maybe somebody on here. If anybody else has used a rigid planer, maybe you guys can help Jeremy out. I have a lot of other rigid tools, and they seem to be doing pretty well. As a matter of fact, I have a dual bevel sliding miter saw, and it's one of my favorite tools in the shop. So I would assume that would be pretty good. Lost Sailor says, love your vids, brother. Very inspiring. What's going on, Lost Sailor? I think, is this your first Shop Talk Tuesday live? Rusty Mergen says, sharp planers are good. Yeah, that's right. Sharp planers work. PFD says, hey, watching from Orange County, California. So how far away is that from Sacramento? Is Orange County more south? The Pine Knot Shop, Bill at the Pine Knot Shop says, rigid always makes a good product. Jeremy says, there are a few planers on the marketplace near here, and one is a rigid, so I was curious. Well, I wonder how much they're asking. PFT says, yes, Disneyland area. Okay. Southern California. Gotcha. I have been in the Disneyland area one time. It's pretty cool. I'm surprised at how cold the water is compared to where I am here on the East Coast. So if you guys, I don't know if you guys have any, or if you're going to be entering the Cheapskate challenge, but I just wanted to be a little bit more specific. If you guys don't know what the Cheapskate challenge is, we do one every month or so, and this is the second one that we've done. And the rules for this contest are you have a $50 cap for an epoxy woodworking project, and those are they're pretty much the rules. You can reuse stuff that you already have around the house. You can go anywhere you want to go. It can be an online store, it can be a brick and mortar store, whatever you want. But your entries have to be sent to me on Instagram at Goodview Woodworks or Facebook at Goodview Woodworks. Send me a private message with a picture of your project and a short description, and that's how you enter into the contest. So we already have a couple of entries in already. Just waiting for some other guys to enter before the deadline, which is Saturday at midnight. So Lost Sailor says, I saw you used car wax directly on melamine. Is that better than packing tape? Well, that was, so when I did use the car wax, it was the first time that I ever used it, and it actually worked really well. So I would recommend the car wax. I had a lot of people warn me about it because it has silicone in it and that it could damage the epoxy. However, I had no issues whatsoever. It didn't ruin the finish. Things didn't mess with the epoxy, and it popped right off. And I didn't have to waste all that tape putting it down on the melamine. So yeah, it was pretty good. Jeremy says the rigid 13.5-inch planer, $220. That's a pretty good deal. I'm sure they're a lot more expensive than that for a 13.5-inch planer from the factory. So, the Pine Knot Shop says, Jeremy, are you asking about a thickness planer or a hand planer? Thickness planer, I'm pretty sure. That'd be crazy to have a 13.5-inch hand planer. That'd be hard to push. No problem, Lost Sailor. Slick Table says, and cheaper than mold release wax. Furniture polish wax is good too and less expensive. Hey, Slick Tables, thanks for the insight, bud. See, that's the good thing about Shop Talk Tuesday. We can all put in our what we've done before, our experience, and it always helps everybody out. And that's the goal of this channel, is to create a community of people, because obviously I do not know everything that there is to know. And it's cool to share all of our knowledge and help everybody learn. So I appreciate that, Slick Tables. Also, hey man, I saw your river table where you did the marble look. If you want, I can PM you. I got a couple ideas if you wanted to try it again to give a little bit more distinct marble effect. He said, I guess we were thinking about the same thing. He says, cheers again for your spray paint tip on the marble look too. So good. Okay, so did you use it? Did you try it? I also have a question for you guys. Do you guys have any questions when it comes to building a form, pouring epoxy or mixing, or anything that you've had trouble with in the past? If you do have any questions, feel free to post them up here and maybe we can get some answers. So Lost Sailor says, what coloring can I use to get translucent resin? I want light to come through but not clearly. So that's a very good question. What you need to look for is a resin dye instead of like a metallic pigment. You can do both with either, but a metallic pigment just looks different than more of like a translucent resin. It kind of gives it more of a shimmery pearlescent look. But you can do it with both the resin dye and metallic powders. If you have seen the video, that blue cutting board, I actually hold up in the light, you can see through that as well. So that was it was opaque, but not enough where you couldn't see through it. That was a pretty cool one. Slick Table says, yeah, for sure. And with the isopropyl alcohol. Yeah, that isopropyl alcohol works wonders, especially when you put the metallic powder in with it. Gives some pretty cool effects. Guys, also wanted to let you guys know too. So while I was up in California, I met up with Mike over at Stonecoat Countertops. He has a big channel. If you want to check him out, he's got like over 300,000 subscribers. Great guy. He actually had me hang out. He showed me his shop, and we ended up doing a little collaboration together. So in the next, I would say, a few weeks, there'll be a video coming out with me and Mike over at Stonecoat Countertop. So if you guys have been watching my channel for a while, you know that I really recommend that epoxy. It's my favorite so far. It's very user friendly, and it's just a really good product. Jacob says, what do you think about Danish oil? I think Danish oil as a finish is really good. I mean, I like a lot of the Danish oil and the tung oil, things like that. I think it gives a different kind of finish if you put it over the epoxy. And I have used tung oil, which is very similar to Danish oil, over top of epoxy with great results. So it does have a tint to it. So whatever you put it on top of will change color a little bit. Other than that, you know, it's just another option for a good finish. Thanks for asking, Jacob. LA LaCroix in the house.
Trying to get a sponsor.
Yeah, trying to get a LaCroix sponsorship.
That'd be nice.
That would be. So we have a lot of cool projects coming down the pike. Like I said, we have the desk for our new office. We have the conference table coming up. And with the conference table, I'm also going to be showing a few other ways. If you guys are wanting to build any kind of table, really, it doesn't matter if it's a river table or not, but you don't necessarily have all the tooling, I'm going to show you some other options that you can always outsource if you don't have all the stuff and you want to build an income before you can order your own stuff, because eventually you can get it. So what I'm going to do is the company that I ordered that big walnut slab from, they actually have a huge belt sander and planer that goes on their bandsaw mill that'll plane this thing down flat too. So we're going to show all that stuff so you guys can get a behind the scenes look at what they do. And from my perspective, you know, time is money, and so sometimes it's just more cost effective to have somebody that has the proper tooling to get some of that more time consuming work done. Now, if you've seen my channel before, I have planed things flat, sanded down, hand sanded, and I'm good with all that. But I'm just going to start showing you guys some other options just in case. Slick Table says facts. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So we have that coming up, and I'm not sure if you guys care to watch, but I have the ability to take some video of us renovating our house, but I'm not sure if you guys are wanting to see that. Let me know in the comments if you guys would be curious to see what we're doing on our home. Oh yeah, also another a new company, a company I haven't heard of, reached out to me about some different epoxy that it's a casting resin that you can pour up to 6 inches thick. 6 inches thick, that is crazy. So they just sent me some resin in the mail, and I'll have a video coming up very soon testing that product. So be on the lookout for that too. Rusty Mergen says, I had some foaming occur, not bubbling, on a small patch of my Cheapskate project. Not sure why this happened. Can I just sand it down and re-epoxy it? Rusty, yes. I've had that happen before. I've had foaming. Sometimes what happens if you pour it too thick and it gets hot, or it might just be a really like the epoxy sometimes reacts with moisture, and if there is one little pocket of moisture in the wood that you're using, that could cause it too. Jeremy says, show a video of you changing a window out so I can learn how to. So you can learn how to change out a window. All right, I can do that. Law Sailor says, yeah, man, I want to renovate too, but can't afford it. Man, I know how you feel. These projects that I'm doing are paying for all the renovations on our home. Huh?
I wouldn't even call them renovations.
What would you call them?
I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. But it's not, doing all the work ourselves is over the course of a year is not a renovation.
My wife says if it takes too long, it's not a renovation anymore. Oh, that's funny. Rusty Merkin, what are, well, I guess you can't tell me because it's part of the Cheapskate challenge. Do you think moisture was the problem? Most of the time you can, though, just sand it down and re-epoxy, no issues. As long as that you scuff sand the entire part that has epoxy so that it sticks to itself and doesn't try to delaminate. Anytime that you pour epoxy on top of epoxy, you don't have to sand if it's not fully cured and still kind of soft. You don't have to sand in between coats, but if it's fully cured, you have to scuff sand to give some mechanical adhesion so that it doesn't delaminate. Jay Thomas says it's no longer a restoration, it's a retirement plan. That's right. Oh, that's funny. Oh, Slick says, do you have a domino or would plan on getting one? Man, I'll tell you what, I don't know. That is a really cool tool, but I don't know if I have a lot of use for that tool, mainly because of the price. It's really expensive, and I don't know. That's a good question. It would be something I would like to have, but is it worth it to me right now? I don't know. Maybe when I get some more projects, and if I ever needed it, I may break down. But the Festool Domino, that thing is no joke. And I've seen you use some Festool tools as well, and I would love to get some too. But they're real proud of their stuff, aren't they? Rusty said, moisture for sure, probably. It was humid that day too. Yeah. I come in with that issue a lot because here in Virginia it stays humid. It's humid. It's so humid during the summer that your sweat doesn't even evaporate. So, Rusty Morgan says, "Can it be too hot to pour epoxy? I know it can be too cold." No, I don't think. Well, let me take that back. So, yes, it can be too hot. However, you can always put a fan on top to keep the temperature down, especially if you pour a little bit thicker than what it calls for. If you have a fan blowing across the top, you should be okay. What happens is if it gets too hot, one, it creates bubbles, it can steam, but it can also crack in the middle of wherever you're pouring, especially if you're pouring with a little bit of thickness. It's a good question. It kind of needs to be at the right temperature, you know? It has to be, the optimal temperature is between 75 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, guys, I know this is a short Shop Talk Tuesday. If you guys have any more questions, throw them in the comments now. If not, that's okay. We can totally, I got some more comments here. Let me make sure I read you guys' comments before I get off here. So, Slick Table says, yeah, definitely made me cry and smile at the same time, but for sure worth it, time and finish wise. The extra large domino, I'm looking at $2,600 without the dominoes. That's a lot. Wow, 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 that's a lot of money. Woo. Tammy says, what's the best polish or wax to use on top of the epoxy table? Tammy, that is a great question. As a matter of fact, I'm also looking for a really good wax. However, to use on top of epoxy, if you go check out Stone Coat Countertops website, he has a polishing compound and a finish that you put on top after you polish it to make it really slick and last for a little while. So great question, Tammy. Rusty Mergen says we only got that 1 day a year here in Michigan. Yeah, the heat. Adam says, do river tables make a profit? Yes, they do. But it all depends on how you market yourself. Obviously, you can't have a business making anything if you don't make a profit. So, I find that this river table that I've been commissioned to do here now is making us profit. That's how you work. That's how you run a business, right? Lost Sailor says, no one in my area is selling resin art like what you make. There's a lot of money to be made here selling this art here in the Adirondacks. Well, that's really cool, man. I hope that you can kind of get in there and start getting your stuff out to them. Like I said, Lost Sailor, if you have any questions, man, feel free to ask. Can always I'll always be here to help you guys, and all these people here in the community are willing to help it too, I'm sure. Oh yeah, also to keep you guys updated, I'm working on a website here soon, and also working on, my wife and I are also working on some merch. Not sure if you guys would be interested in that, but it's also going to be part of a giveaway too. So we have a lot of things coming up. I know I've been talking about a giveaway for a really long time, but finally got things nailed down with giveaways and how legal they are here in Virginia. So that's also on the docket coming up. Hey, Mike Cawthon, what's up? And Lost Sailor says, thanks, I'm learning a lot watching your videos. Well, thanks, Lost Sailor. I appreciate you watching, man. That's what I'm here for, is to help you guys and for you guys to help me too, With that being said, guys, I'm going to call it a night. I know it's been a short one this time, but I want to thank you guys so much for supporting this channel. I want to thank you for watching the videos and sharing and liking and subscribing and doing all the things that you guys do. Really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. That being said, I'm going to get out of here and hang out with my wife. I've been gone for a week and I know she misses me. So, guys, have a good night, and thanks for hanging out with us.